I'm here to speak about authentic storytelling to grow a business that's highly successful and gives back. And that has so much to do with the topic for today, which is storytelling for success. There's a different way of telling stories that's going to attract your ideal clients. And it's different than just telling a story to perform. And we want to get you this recipe, the 3-part recipe for storytelling that attracts clients, so that you don't have to be out there telling stories that just capture people's attention. You've got to tell a story that actually has people hungry to take a next step with you. The thing about story, it can be a healing opportunity for ourselves, for our future clients. And what's so cool is that the way you tell a story, I believe, can actually rewrite what happened in your mind. So any stories that you might still feel like a victim of, we can actually look today at how to tell those stories as client attracting stories so that you can continue to do your healing work around it. One of my favorite stories to tell is my story of when I literally started my business and almost gave up like 50 times. I'm gonna tell you this story and then I'm gonna debrief the story so that you can actually see how to apply the recipe of my story to your story when you choose your story. I was a school teacher. I was making $28,000, $30,000 a year, and my marriage was beginning to really suffer. I found myself in a career that was just soul crushing. I loved the kids, but I couldn't actually say the things that I needed to say. No child left behind, standardized testing. I stepped out and took a risk to start my business. But of course, when I first started my business, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't really have a plan. Things began to go downhill very quickly. I decided that it would be a really wise thing to do to move from Oregon to California with my husband, because I was convinced that moving to California would solve all my problems. And it didn't. Moving to California just exacerbated the problem that we were in debt. And my way of solving that problem was to manifest the money. I had learned all kinds of things about manifestation. And the truth is that I wasn't right with money. The way that I was going about getting more clients and building my business was that I was having lunch with other entrepreneurs over an organic plate of greens overlooking the ocean in California, talking about how I was going to manifest these clients, right? And then I remember waking up in the morning and journaling in my journal about all the inner work I needed to do and the limiting beliefs I needed to let go of in order for the clients to come in. And then I remember going shopping with one of my girlfriends, and we decided we were going to buy ourselves future self pants. And these pants represented my future self, and they were $200. My husband at the time almost killed me. My husband and I were barely talking, and I knew that at some point the marriage was probably going to end, and yet I didn't have the money to even be able to make that decision. I had launched an online project and had spent thousands of dollars doing it with no revenue. And I started walking around with so much money shame, feeling worse and worse and worse about myself, that I ended up laying on my back on the ground in my backyard, looking up at the sky. I could not even move my head because I was in so much pain. My neck was out, the pressure on me, the financial pressure. I felt like a total failure. I thought I was going to go back and get another teaching job. And I remember just starting to pray to this angelic shaped cloud overhead. And in the prayer, I started to bawl. And so much pain and suffering just started to kind of ooze out of me. And, the suffering for the impending loss of my marriage, and the suffering for how much I longed to help people and I didn't know how. I remember letting myself feel all those feelings was like some sort of connection, energetic connection to every other woman on the planet who is trapped in a disempowering circumstance, women in far worse situations than I was because of a financial dependence. And I remember in that moment feeling my heart broken open for this journey that we're all on as women, learning to make our own money, keep our own money, value ourselves, ask for the sale. I made a prayer and a commitment to the universe in that moment that I would do everything I could possibly do to help other women who are in need, if the universe would just please get me out of this situation, right? Just please, can you solve my financial problems? And if you help me, I will help as many women as I can. And believe it or not, in the days that followed, doors began to open to me. I met my first mentor. I came up with a creative way of financing, hiring my first mentor. I made a business plan. I turned my online project around to the tune of 6 figures. I created over $100,000 worth of revenue when about 110 folks signed up for my very first $1,000 product, and my life turned around, and the Women Rocking Business organization that you now see was born. And we're getting now to serve tens of thousands of women around the world. And like you, I have had so many moments of not knowing if this was ever going to work. And I'm curious for you, what's your story of when you almost gave up? You maybe almost gave up on yourself. You maybe almost gave up on life. You maybe almost gave up on your dream. That story has been a part of your PhD program, which has been preparing you for exactly the right clients who are going to be finding you. Let's talk a little bit about the 3-part recipe to telling a story that's actually a client attracting story. We'll apply it to the story I just told you. And then I want to help you choose a story that's going to attract your clients. So the very first thing that you want to do when you tell a client attracting story is you want to engage your audience. Number 1, engage your audience or your participants. How did I do that? Well, I didn't just dive into my story. I let you know what you were going to learn from hanging out with me over the next 20 or 30 minutes. I let you know why you might be here. You may be here because you're building a business and you want to be able to tell your story in a way that's actually client attracting. And I let you know that I was going to tell a story that you may find relevant to you. So how do you engage your audience? Maybe with a question. I'm curious if any of you have ever felt the following challenges. Have you ever been challenged with your health? Have you ever been challenged with your ability to trust yourself? Well, I understand what that was like. I was once where you are. Engage your audience first. Don't just dive into a story that's all about you. And don't introduce yourself first, because that's, again, all about you. You want to make it about them. Number 2, your story has to have a clear turning point. Your story can't be spaghetti. What do you guys think my turning point was? Post it in the comment section below. Turning point of my story, right, was laying on my back in total pain, my neck going out, my body wasn't working, feeling the heartbreak for all women on the planet who struggle with money. And things started to turn around once I allowed myself to fall apart and feel everything I needed to feel. You have a turning point to your story as well. In fact, you probably have many turning points, and that is the problem. Your job is to figure out only one turning point for your story. Talk about the time when it got the hardest. And then from there, it's got to go up, 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 up. I was running out of money. I'd moved to California to try to solve all my problems. I didn't like teaching. It wasn't fulfilling. I was spending money on things I didn't need, like Future Self pants. My marriage was falling apart. Worse, 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 worse. I had to do something different. And then I made some decisions. I found a mentor. I started trusting myself again. I got into action doing the right things rather than the wrong things. And I slowly crawled out of the hole that I was in. And number 3, make sure that you tie your story back to your audience. What do you think that means? Post it in the comment section below. This 3rd piece is the most important thing that you can do. Without the tie back, your story is not a client attracting story. Your tie back is your ability to actually now let the audience in on your story in a way that makes it relevant to them. My tie back had to do with your story. I made my story your story. I said, whatever you've been through, whether it was a relationship challenge, a financial challenge, a health crisis, right? Whatever story has carved out your life as a PhD program, preparing you for the message that you're here to bring, that story is the story that's going to attract the clients to you, help you fill your practice, help you fulfill your business dreams. Because when we speak as women, when we get out there and speak and share and lead workshops and inspire people and make videos and get on stage, even if you're nervous to do those things, even if you don't feel like you're going to be perfect, when we do that, we are doing the thing that we are built for as women. We're built to show up, to be generous, to give. And then when the right people say, oh my God, that changed my life, we just say, there's more where that came from. And so having that client attracting talk is going to allow you to not have to go out and chase clients anymore. It's going to allow all of the clients that you want to be working with to find you, because they're going to be attracted to hearing your talk. Your clients are waiting for you. They're not just waiting for someone like you. They're actually waiting for you.